to the J&J Power Hour. We're here on our own channel now. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the new channel, make sure you do so. Click the bell. You're getting notifications. Still seeing the playlist if you're popping it up on my channel. But you can just subscribe, like, do all that good stuff, share away. Thought I'd get that out of the way at the very beginning of this before we spiral into some stuff today. First and foremost, JPJ, what's going on? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. My Boston Celtics are on the verge of potentially losing the NBA Finals, so I'm trying to emotionally cope with that. I still feel like they can still win, though, so I always remain hopeful. I am a hopeful fan, but that's been a little stressful, but in the scheme of things, it's sports. So if that's the worst thing or the most stressful thing I got going on right now, I feel like I'm doing okay. I am stressed as hell, though. I really am.
Trust me, I know the feeling. You know how I am. We had a bye this past weekend. You have because there's an uneven. Well, there's not like the right amount of. There's more teams than there used to be.
Yeah,
they've added more teams in the last however many years.
Expansion and stuff.
Yeah, so some teams have to have a bye in certain weeks just so.
Gotcha.
Blah blah blah.
How many weeks in a season?
There's how many rounds in the AFL? It goes from like end of March to August was when the finals start, so do the math.
And they play just once a week. They play.
Yeah, so you play one game a week, and then sometimes you have buys. And rounds are it's usually from sometimes they have a Thursday night game, but it's usually Friday through Sunday, Monday sometimes.
Like sometime on the weekend. Okay.
Yeah, just like depends on like there's a Monday night game this past week because it was a public holiday, so there's a game on a Monday night. But so we had a bye this week, so. Adelaide Crows, I didn't get to. Nothing. They play this weekend, but
And you said they're not that great, right?
They're in a rebuild situation at the moment, so the team's really young. So they've got a lot of newer players. So in a few years, the Crows should be really good, but it takes you have to just gain experience. Just a lot of 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds on that team. So they just don't have experience. So we're like bottom. So there's two parts to it. So you're in the top 8, and if you finish the season in the top 8, you go and play in the finals. And then there's the bottom half, and we're like 15th on the ladder out of 18. So we're not doing crash hot. I don't think we definitely won't make finals or anything like that. But again, in a couple years, I have hope. You just gotta. It's like with any sports team. When you gravitate towards a certain sport team, whether they're the worst or the best, you have to just ride or die with them. And when we get a win, it's a big it's just a big celebration. Well, you got to win a couple of weeks ago out of probably one of the only teams in the league that is worse than us. But that's not the point. We'll take the win.
Oh, win's a win. You got to win.
Take the win when you can get the win. I go to a game in a couple of weeks, and we're playing.
Oh, that's cool.
We're playing the currently the number 2 ranked team in the league, which is.
So you expecting to get your asses?
Oh, we're gonna get thumped. We're gonna get fucking thumped. Yeah, but you never know. We're playing.
No, you never.
It's a home game. So
you could end up being at the game where they pull off this huge upset. It's like, holy shit, we won. You know what I mean?
Year, so the Melbourne Demons are number 2 currently on the ladder. They've lost their last 3 games, but before that, they hadn't lost since the grand final last year. Like they had been on a rampage. But last year in the 2021 premiership season, we beat Melbourne in a pretty miraculous victory. So 2 weeks time, I'll be there. Don't worry, I'll be posting it all on Twitter and stuff like that of me there. But trust me, it's either going to be I sit there and I'm just on the edge of my seat because they might win. I sit there and I sulk and cry because they're losing, or I just get really drunk.
Fair. Yeah, that sounds like most sports fans I know.
So in a couple of weeks I'm going to the game, Adelaide Oval, because they play. Usually it's every other week they play at home. So you do an away game, then a home game. That's usually how most sports work. But they're away for a couple of weeks just because of the way the buys work, and sometimes it just lines up. So I think they're playing in I don't know where the next couple of weeks, but then the next home game I'll be at Adelaide Oval for them to take on the Melbourne Demons, and It could be a rough Saturday afternoon for me, to be completely honest. But hey, I'm going, and that's all that matters. And I'll probably be going to a lot more games over the next couple of months before finals start, because they're not going to be in the finals. We've only got 2 South Australian teams The other is Port Adelaide, who I fucking hate. They're like the worst of the worst.
They're the rival. Are they the rival?
Yeah, they're the rival, and I can't. You're either a Adelaide Crows fan or you're a Port Adelaide fan. There's no floating in between.
But do you guys live amongst each other, or is like your area where you live like specifically one?
No, we live amongst each other. There is Port Adelaide, like a suburb of Adelaide, where they're based. But no, they live kind of everywhere, and because South Australia is such a big state, and there's only 2 teams in the league, so you just pick one, really. But when there's showdowns and stuff like that, it's absolutely the atmosphere. The atmosphere is just insane. But yeah, I can't stand Port. But they're doing just as shit as us. So no South Australian team's going to be in the final, I don't think.
Gotcha.
Unless something miraculous happens over the next couple of months and they just start fucking winning every game. I just don't think it's gonna. I don't even know if it's possible. We're in the second half of the premiership.
A lot of the other cities that have teams, do they have 2 teams as well?
No,
or are you like one of the only places that has kind of 2 like that?
So the state of Victoria, where Melbourne is, basically, they have a bunch of teams. Because like the AFL started with just Victorian teams, and then it branched out to other states, like years and years and years and years ago. And then it branched out to other states. So no, but Adelaide and Port, even I've talked to people from other parts of the country, and they say that rivalry is pretty intense just because of the history between the 2 teams and just the rabidness of each side of the fandom. I'm not saying it's the best. There's a lot of people say that it's very intense. So, there is other rivalries, of course, of certain teams that are like, this is our thing. But yeah, Port and Adelaide is it's an interesting. You got Port Adelaide Power and the Adelaide Crows. But yeah, if you talk to me, you won't get any love from me for Port Adelaide. I can't stand them. But then there's Port Adelaide fans that would say the same thing about
of course.
Crows. So, but
that's how I feel about certain teams.
Exactly. So I like it's sport is it's the only sport that I really like, because wrestling is not a sport. I don't care what anyone says.
No, that's more of an entertainment. There's sport, athletic. Yeah, there's athletic things happening that I am like, I could never do that shit. Yeah, but it's an entertainment. It's a show. You're watching stories.
Yeah, I'm not. It's not a. I don't like to use the word fake, because it isn't fake, but it's a
written show. It's
a written show. Sport is not well. I guess there's some people that would say that it's rigged.
Yeah, there are certain people, gamblers, that would say it's rigged. But it's sports, the drama of like, I like TV shows, I like movies, like I love dramas, but like the real life, and again, it's sport, it's not the most important thing in the world. No. But the real life drama that comes with sports is really it's the reason why you love sports. It's the reason why, in my opinion, like sports are the best, because it's like, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen, and it's real life, and there are upsets, David versus Goliath. Like, there's all these things that happen, and, sometimes your team's on the bad. Exactly. Sometimes your team's on the bad side of it, and it sucks, but sometimes your team's on the good side of it, and it's like, holy crap, I can't believe I was like watching, like I got to see that. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. I love it.
It is crazy. Sports are a weird thing. I mean, I only really watch one sport. I'm not a huge sports guy. I've always said that. But like, if I was going to watch any other sport, I know what I'd gravitate towards, and it's the NBA, because basketball is something that I can actually sit. I've watched basketball games before and be like, okay, if I sat here and actually devoted my energy and time to it, I could easily see myself.
I think, becoming a fan. In this area where I'm from, the Celtics matter. Clearly, I mean, they're in the finals now, so it's obviously being discussed.
My brother loves NBA, my older brother, and he hates Boston.
He's not alone. A lot of people.
He said a lot of people. I think he likes the Spurs.
Okay, San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, he likes the Spurs, and he likes Chicago.
The Bulls.
Yeah.
That makes sense. They were in the 90s, and then in the 2000s, they were like the best teams. They were the routinely like the better teams.
And I already have I don't watch NBA, but I have a favorite player because of his name, and it's Josh Giddey.
Oh yeah, I knew that. He's good though. You told me this before.
Yeah, he's Australian.
You told me this before. It might have even been on this show, but I feel like we mentioned Josh Giddey before. He's Australian, and we were like, "Holy crap!"
He's from Adelaide, I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, but he's actually like a good player. He's young still, so he can even grow more. But like, he's turned into a good player. He's a core player for that Oklahoma City team. He's good. So
it's just weird to me. I'm like, it's Josh Giddey. Like, it's my cat's name, and it's my name, and he's from Adelaide, or he played for Adelaide at some stage. Because we do have a basketball national league.
Yeah, Australia has always been a team, and the Olympics and stuff like that. Australia has always been a team that like the U.S. has gone up against a lot and stuff like that. So. Yeah.
Good for us, I guess. But basketball is always something. We have actually, now that I don't know why this, I guess it's because you said like the country and it just spread. The Commonwealth Games coming up, which you guys are not a part of, which is great for our swimming team because Australia is really good at swimming, but the US always kicks our ass because the US swimming team is just like
swimming is my favorite Summer Olympic thing to watch. I make sure I go out of my way to watch all the swimming stuff.
So we should. I think there's pretty high expectations for Australia to do well in the Commonwealth Games. So the Commonwealth Games, for anyone that doesn't know, I guess everyone would know, but it's anything in the Commonwealth, anything run by the Queen. Really, I guess I think Canada's a part of the Commonwealth, to be completely honest.
Yes.
So the Commonwealth Games are next month.
Very good.
I think. I don't know where is the Commonwealth Games taking place. I can't even think. There's been that many ads on TV for it, but I just can't think. I know it's happening in Australia in a few years. I think Brisbane is hosting the Commonwealth Games in like 2026 or some bullshit like that. But yeah, the Commonwealth Games are like exactly the same as the Olympic Games, just countries in the Commonwealth. So we always do pretty well just because there's less countries to deal with. But America always does well in the Olympics, again, especially on the swimming side of things. They're always raking in golds in the swimming. America has they're just dominant in that area. I don't know. I don't follow the Olympics too much when it's on, to be completely honest. I catch little things here and there. But
if I'm not mistaken, I believe you guys, Australia, just qualified for the World Cup yesterday as well.
We did qualify for the World Cup.
I'm one of those rare Americans that I don't really care about the MLS, like the American soccer. Like I pay attention to the New England team, whatever. Like I keep up with them.
It's not a big thing,
No, but I care about the World Cup. Like I watch the World Cup every time. I watch the Euro when just the Europeans are going. Like I care about the international soccer. I care about Team USA and all that stuff. Like way more than I care about the in-house league in America.
Yeah, the Socceroos, they did qualify though.
Yeah, I did see that they qualified yesterday, so I was like, all right.
We are okay. We are okay at soccer.
Patrick Keane, is he a player of yours?
Sounds familiar. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. So listen, I care when we win.
It's fair. US didn't even qualify last time, and that was the first time we hadn't qualified in forever.
The World Cup is so weird to me. Like, you got to qualify for the World Cup. Shouldn't it just be everybody?
Like years and years. You play for like it's every 4 years, right?
I think so.
The 2 years before the World Cup, you're qualifying. It takes that long to qualify.
Soccer confuses me. It's one sport bizarre. That I can't. I've tried to watch, and I'm like, oh, this looks cool, and then it's like, wow, I'm watching one goal.
It's fair. And that's the main argument. Like, especially in America, they're like, "Oh, it's boring. 0-0, 0-0, blah blah blah." I'm like, I get it, but like, do you know how the pure athleticism of those guys?
Shit,
that is a huge field. That's like the biggest field I think that sport is played on, or one of. Like I know that for sure, but like, all they're doing is running.
Yeah, constantly. There's no stop-start. It's just constantly. You have to be in such
45
good shape.
Straight minutes. 45 straight minutes with like a 15-minute halftime break. All they're doing is back and forth running.
I couldn't imagine that kind of cardio you would have. It's why they're also. Have you noticed soccer players are always really lean and they're really.
Oh yeah.
They're never bulky. They're always super in shape.
Very few bulky guys like like Wayne Rooney was a bulky guy for England, but like very few. It's all taller, lanky. athletic. They
Yeah.
can jump up. They can
Because they
jump
have
very
to.
high.
It's
Yeah,
ridiculous the kind of shape you'd have to be in to play soccer.
it's
But
unbelievable.
I used
If
to
the
play
United,
indoor soccer as a kid.
okay, I did too. I did
played
too.
indoor soccer. I liked it. But again, I got older and I just didn't want to run. So that's why I started
Yeah,
playing tennis because it was stop
yeah.
start and I was just good at tennis.
I
Man,
like tennis too.
tennis is a boring sport to watch though, dude.
I would, yeah. I watched the majors, and when well, look at in general, I would
I
agree.
watched when like Serena and Venus Williams
Yeah,
used to play. I don't know if
in
do they
general,
still play tennis?
I think it was just announced today that Serena's coming back.
Oh, does Venus?
So Venus, I think, is done. She was a couple years older than
Serena is a beast at
Serena.
tennis.
Won the Australian Open. Serena won that shit
Yeah.
pregnant.
That is how like I just don't I don't understand. See, we had a really good
That's
player
insane.
in tennis and she just retired, Ash Barty.
She's not old though, young, right?
She's young as fuck and she retired. She won like a heap of Grand Slams and then was like, well, I guess I'm done.
She's like, I'm young. I don't want to. I have my money. I'm good.
We used to the Barty party. That's what everyone used to call it because everyone you just look at her and you just go, she's going to win this Grand Slam, and it would just be like she could do it with her eyes closed. And now she's just, I think she's like an advocate for. I believe she has like, she does a lot of work with the Aboriginal community. I know that. So she does a lot of advocating for that kind of stuff and women's rights and women in sports. Awesome. I think she does a lot of that kind of stuff. But
do you think she'll get into like politics or something as she gets older?
Maybe. Who knows? Who would want to get into fucking politics? That just seems
like
a downright slope just to be like, no matter what you do, you're going to get harassed. You're going to get bullied. You're going to make all the wrong decisions no matter what you think is right. Like I couldn't imagine being a politician. In any, I'm not siding with anyone. Calm down, everybody. But like, I'm just saying, like, imagine being a politician. You could do no right because no matter what you do to please someone, you're pissing someone else off. Especially in today's day and age,
that's all it is now.
It's not as bad here as it is in the States, but like it's just so driven. You have to be on one side. You can't be like, well, I agree with some things this person says and some things this person says. It's just, you're tied to a party and it's just, we're not even going to touch politics, but I'm just saying like, yeah, I don't think she would, who knows, she might, but she's advocating for a lot of things like that from my understanding. Anyway, so she's just a gun of a tennis player, like an absolute gun. I don't know. I'm sure some people would be like, I know who that lady's name is.
I know her. Yeah. She was the number one seed in a ton of tournaments and majors. Yeah. I usually watch the majors. Once they get down to the final.
There's four, right? There's four major.
Yeah. Australian Open, US Open,
French,
Wimbledon, and the French Open.
Yeah. Because the French Open's played on clay, right? And I couldn't imagine playing on a
That's clay. The one they just had. Rafael Nadal is like he's still the best in the clay. Him and
Federer are just. Was Federer still playing?
I don't know if he's injured. He doesn't play regularly. He's up there in age.
And then you got the other guy that wouldn't get vaccinated.
Djokovic.
He got kicked out of Australia.
He got kicked out of your tournament. Yeah, he got kicked out of the Australian.
You could imagine. He
was the number one seed, favorite to win because he's the best now.
He was everywhere on the news. I couldn't imagine he would be too fond of this country after that experience. To be completely honest,
incredible.
You should have just got vaccinated, buddy, and you would have been.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to make it a thing, but like if regardless of what you think, if it affects if your career as a tennis player or a sporting guy, because it happens in our sports, the Red Sox. So Canada still has a rule that if you're a visiting team, you need to be vaccinated to play in Canada.
We just dropped all those rules.
Yeah, so Canada still has that. The U.S. we don't have that rule. Yeah, but Canada does.
Clearly.
So if you're a team in the United States, the Boston Red Sox, and you're going to play the Toronto Blue Jays in baseball, all the vaccinated players can't play. The unvaccinated. All the unvaccinated players can't play.
Yeah.
So my mindset is, regardless of what you think about the vaccine, if your profession is to play baseball.
Oh, trust me, dude. There was a whole thing.
What are you talking about?
There was a whole thing. Let me look up this lady's name just so I don't fucking botch it like crazy.
It makes no sense to me. I don't care. Like if that's your job and your job, you can affect your job. You're telling me if you had a playoff series,
so
I can't win the championship, you're not gonna what? And you don't care about your job. You don't care about baseball.
So there's a lady so the AFLW is the women's league of Australian rules footy. And this gun of a player that played for the Crows. The Crows the girls are
good.
They're dominant. They've won the last 3 premierships.
So they're the best. They're the best.
There's less teams with the win. There's only been a thing for like the last since 2018 or 17.
Do people care as much about the women? Okay.
No, listen, here's the problem with the AFL Women's League. It's not that the girls aren't good. It's that the really good ones are so much better than the not good ones. And the league is so young.
It's just not a competitive league.
It's just a lot slower because the girls that are really good are fucking studs. And the ones that aren't are really a step down. And that's because it's just not enough because it hasn't been a thing for as long. So girls haven't been training as long since they're little kids to be like, I want to be an AFL player because unfortunately, it wasn't a thing for them when they were young. So as the league progresses, I think it'll get better. But the girls are really good. But one of the best players, her name's Denny. I can't say her last name. Sorry to everybody that's like, Josh, say it like this. She is a nurse as well as
oh wow.
That's impressive. She was like, I'm not getting vaccinated. Not doing it. And the Crows were like, well, you're not playing. They've dropped that rule now because of all the emergent things have ended. So now she could play, but now she's pregnant anyway, so it doesn't. She can't play.
Oh, well, good for her.
But yeah, she was very outspokenly against the vaccine. It's weird because she's a nurse too, so she couldn't go to that job because she had to be vaccinated, obviously, to be a nurse. So yeah, she was like the first public sports figure to be like, I ain't doing this. Was last year. To be like, I ain't getting vaccinated, and everyone was like, "Oh fuck, here we go."
Yeah, here we go.
But she was one of the better players for the AFLW Crows League. So, but yeah, the girl, it's weird. Again,
it's the same. It's the same over here with like the WNBA and the NBA. Like
people, I hate that people look at it and just go, "I'm not watching it." It's also played at a different time of year, so the girls play before the official season starts for the guys. The girls have their season. It's smaller. The finals are smaller. There's less teams in the league. Because we're so used to footy is a winter sport. It's essentially being played at the end of summer, which is weird because I don't know. There's 2 seasons in Australia. There's footy season and then there's cricket season because cricket is played in the summertime and footy's the winter. I don't like cricket. It's the worst sport in the world. Don't fucking at me for that either. It's so fucking boring. But so the girls play it at different time. It is a little, again, just because the girls that are studs could play with the guys and it'd be no fucking different. But the girls that are, they're just a step behind. And I don't mean that in a sexist way or anything like that. Please don't take it that way. I sometimes will check out the girls and be like, okay, this is fun. It's just different. And the crowds are smaller. Yeah. They don't play in the big, the big stadiums. They just don't. They have smaller ovals. It's just a young league. Once they get I think they're getting more teams soon, to expand the league to have the same amount as the guys. I think it just needs to be, I don't know how you would do it different because you can't play at the same time as the boys because you just have a conflict of scheduling and you'd always have, it's just odd. But it's like the WNBA and I would assume they play at different times of the year.
Yeah, there might be a small overlap. Like I think maybe the WNBA season ends during the regular season of the NBA or something like that. Don't quote me on it, but I think there's a small overlap. But yeah, it's the same thing. They play in smaller arenas. Mm-hmm. There's not as many teams. Mm-hmm. There's a good amount of teams. The WNBA has been around for like a long time now. Yeah, like they've been around since the 90s. Mm-hmm. So like it's been established. There's more teams now than there used to be. And when it first started, there were probably only 8 or 10 teams. Now there's probably if I don't know enough. I don't watch it, but like. I'm guessing there's close to 20.
I'm sure there's really fucking good players in there. That play with the boys and be like, well, no problem here.
The thing that's weird is I feel like in this area where I live, college sports really don't matter at all. Like We don't pay attention. College sports in general in this country are gigantic. College football, college basketball, all of it. Like college sports matter, but in this region where I live, we have sports teams in all the major pro sports. We don't get in. If you didn't go to Boston College, you don't give a shit what Boston College is. Yeah, you'll root for the hometown. Like, oh, I hope they do well. But at the end of the day, like, you didn't go to school there, so what the hell?
Yeah.
What does that matter?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? You know? So I just completely lost my train of thought.
It's all right. I got something else to go on here because so in this country, there's a sport called netball. Have you ever heard of netball?
No, but I want to know what it is.
It's predominantly women, and they fucking kick ass. So netball is like basketball, except when you get the ball, you can't run. You can only move on one foot, so you got to use your team.
It's played like on a basketball type court.
Similar,
like like indoor volleyball ish court. No.
How do I describe it? I might be able to describe it to you. Let me get a picture of a netball court. So we used to do mixed netball at school, right? Because again, it was predominantly for girls just dominate. I think there is men's netball teams, I'm sure, but it's like night and day different. The girls just kick ass in netball. But this is what I'll see if I can show a picture without it. So it's played on like a basketball court. Okay. So this is, let me do this. I don't know if this is going to come through on the screen, but this is what a netball court looks like, right? So you can't really see too well because of just, the reflection.
That looks like a basketball rim with no backboard.
It is basically. So it's harder to get a shot. It's much harder. But so when you get, again, I'm going to botch some of the, let me get the rules up so then some fucking avid netball player, watcher would be like, that's not the rules. So Netball Australia is, there is a World Netball League. It was founded in 1927.
Wow. It's coming up on 100 years. It
was originally founded as an All-Australian Women's Basketball Association. In 1970, after women's basketball became known as netball, the organization changed its name to Australian Netball Association. So
it essentially was women's basketball.
Essentially, it was the women's version.
That's how it was viewed.
It was how it was viewed. Let me look up the rules, so then I can kind of explain to you. I did not think I'd bring up netball. In this, here we go. What is netball? So netball is a ball sport played by two teams of 7 players. Games are played on a rectangular court with raised goal rings at each end. The objective is to score goals from winning from a defined area by throwing a ball into a ring attached to a 3.5 meter, 10 feet high post. So you have specific positions like you would have in basketball. So the thing during play, a player with the ball can only hold on to it for 3 seconds before shooting for a goal or passing to another player. So that's the main difference is you have to stand there. I think you're allowed to move on 1 foot, but you have to have 1 foot placed on the ground. You're
planted.
Planted. So you have 3 seconds to either shoot for a goal or pass it to your team. So you have to utilize your team really, really well. You only have 7 players on your team. So I remember being okay at netball at school. Everyone had to play. It was mixed netball at school. You had to play when you're in 8th grade or something like that, like 8th, 9th. Like you had to do PE, and there was you would break down PE, and you'd have different sports that you'd play. Netball was one of them.
Gotcha.
But all the boys were like, "I'm not playing netball. It's a girls' sport." But it's pretty physically demanding, and you have to use your head. You have to use your head. Good. And
that's why the boys didn't want to play because you had to use your head.
And they're just big dumb boys. But shooting is hard. It is fucking hard. You have to have a pretty precise shot to get that in.
And when I was younger, I played basketball up until my middle teen years. So I played, and I don't shoot at the backboard when I'm shooting, and I didn't use the backboard for a lot of the shots that I hit, but the backboard was the basis of where I was aiming my shot. Mm-hmm. And I can imagine not having the backboard, my depth perception
I remember
would be insane the first
when I played
how many shots I tried. I'd be like, I have no idea.
I was.
What to do here?
I believe when I played mixed netball, I was goal defense. So I was on the opposite end of the court because I was a bad
So
shooter.
you were part of the defenders.
So there's like goal defense, there's goal shooter, there's goal attack, there's, blah, 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 blah. There's all these different things. So games are 60 minutes long, and obviously the one with the most points, wins.
Goals,
yeah, whatever you want to call it.
And goals count as one, so it doesn't matter from where you shoot it from. It's a one.
I don't remember. I'm trying to look up. So I believe I don't quote me, but I think
it's fair.
Maybe it's 3 point. I'm not sure. So blah blah blah. Netball is played by more than 20 million people in more than 80 countries worldwide, and is most popular in Commonwealth nations, and is predominantly played by women. It became a recognized sport in the International Olympic Committee in 1995. Netball is the most popular women's sport in Australia, with an estimated 1 million players nationwide.
Wow.
Although traditionally identified as a sport for women, there is no reason why it can't play with mixed teams, and more boys and men are becoming increasingly involved. Yeah, I don't believe that we ever had like local leagues with just boys, but there was mixed netball. I know there was mixed netball, and then there was women. But yeah, it's like, I guess it's a fascinating sport. I know it does air on television here, but for anyone that's like, what the fuck is netball? Just type it into YouTube and you'll find it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's got basketball-esque qualities to it.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it's associated with basketball in some way. The netball looks a little different. It's usually white. And I think it's maybe a little tiny bit smaller than a regular sized basketball, but again, it could be bigger. It's been a long time since I've touched a netball. But yeah, you would pick that up faster than you would pick up football, like AFL, because it's the same concept as basketball. You go, okay, I get this. It's just basketball with slightly different variations. Instead of dribbling, you stand there.
Or you pass it. Yeah.
So, but you have to use your brain a lot more, and you would have to be more in depth with your team, because you have to be like, okay, obviously I'm not going to shoot. I know you still pass in that in basketball and any other sport, but I don't know. There's something about having to be planted, because you can't run to your teammate. For sure. You have to be like, okay, we have to work as a team here to get it in our goal, in our basket, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, netball. If you want to ever look up that, be my guest. I don't know how we even got.
We were talking about women's basketball, and I remembered what the hell I was talking about. You said there must be some fire players.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, some of the best basketball players. Like, there's some like Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. Like, these are considered some of the greatest female basketball players in the history of basketball. So yeah, there's some
there's lots of
great players.
I hate that argument, dude, of like women can't beat men in sport. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Any of the women in the AFL would kick my any of them would kick my ass in any kind of physical altercation. I don't understand that. Okay. Well, you know when people say like men are just physically stronger than women? Okay, maybe as a generalized thing.
I would say as a generalized thing, yes. There are plenty of. If me and Shayna Baszler got into a fight, she's killing me.
Yeah,
I'm a dead person.
Yeah,
I'm not breathing.
Like, I just don't understand.
Even if I fought back.
In a generalized statistic matter, yes, sure, men are stronger than women in that. If you're looking at it, but it's generalizing so much. There's so many women and so many men. I just put it down to the person. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really see the gender. Yeah. Like, you can either do this or you can't. It doesn't matter what's underneath your pants at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. That's how I look at it. But yeah, it's just people like to, especially men like to put things in a bubble like that. On a bit of a heavier tone, I'm sure you've seen it. What happened? Listen, you're going to be like, it was in this place in the States, but did you see that those people that were arrested by police that were going to like riot at a Pride event?
I did not. I have not seen this. Doesn't shock me though in this fucking country.
Let's see. Let's have a look, skis. There was like
were they gonna like what?
Pride event.
Something bad?
Yeah, they had like smoke grenades
Weapons?
And stuff. Yeah, I don't know if they were gonna. So
I'm gonna say.
Here we go. Idaho. It was in Idaho. I don't really ever hear of things happening in Idaho.
Potatoes.
Is that what is that real?
Idaho potato. Yep, that like you can Googs it after Idaho, known for
So,
potatoes.
Idaho police in the town of I can't pronounce that arrested 31 people Saturday linked to the
31 people.
white nationalist group Patriot Front. The arrested men were spotted gathering where the North Idaho Pride Alliance was holding its annual Pride in the Park event to celebrate gay and lesbian people. Bystander reportedly saw blah 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 blah. They got caught. They were found with shin guards, shields, riot gear, and at least one smoke grenade. They were all in like white masks, white balaclava masks.
So this, right? Okay.
Yeah.
This, I don't want to dive in. This is not a political thing to me.
No, it's not. I don't think it's a political thing at all. I think it's more of a I don't know. Pride stuff is obviously a bit of a touchy subject with me just because of the life I live, but it's not a political thing. It's just people. I don't know how to describe
people
it.
Politicize it, I would say. A certain section of
everything in America, though, dude. And I don't mean the shit in America.
Everything
becomes a political issue in America.
Yeah. And like, don't get this wrong. I know throughout us doing this show, whenever we have dived into this stuff, I don't sound very pro-America. And there are definitely reasons why I am not pro-America. But like, it's not like I don't want to live where I live.
Yeah.
Like, don't mistaken.
I don't hate America to the point where I think it's just like the devil's ass. I just think there's aspects of America that scare the shit out of me.
It's very, very terrible. It's bad.
It's just because it's two very different things. That's the only reason I compare it, is because I have nowhere else to compare to. I've never lived anywhere else but here. So like, I'm just like, how can you live in certain aspects like that? I'm not saying that it's awful. You guys, for the most part, media, I'm just seeing what's on the media. I'm not living everyday life in America. But like, it's just different. But stuff like that does get, it's like, oh, this is a right thing. This is a left thing.
Because those people in those masks, they think, you understand? Like, I don't think it's a political thing. I think they're just dickheads.
Yeah,
they're terrible people.
Yeah.
However,
and guess what? 31 people were all
that's a
white men.
Yeah, of course they fucking are.
Yeah.
And like, but those 31 dudes, they think they're doing the right, like they think them going and doing whatever it was they were going to try to do there is like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Not just, hey, we're a bunch of dickheads, we're just going to go fuck up this party. Like, not like that. They think like we are doing God's work. Like we are doing whatever.
So
this is the right thing, whether it's God, whether it's the Republic, whatever.
It doesn't matter.
That's what they think.
It's weird because I don't know if anyone's listening to this has ever seen a Pride event or been to a Pride event, but it is the most like unintimidating thing in the world. It's just a bunch of queer people in minimal clothing dancing to Lady Gaga. That's what it is. I don't mean to sound stereotypical, but that's what it is. They're just there to just celebrate them. And, you know, it's obviously it's Pride Month, which I have my own opinions on Pride Month that I've made very well known, is that, I don't know, it's just weird. I just think, why have it? Yes, celebrate it and stuff like that, but also like, why are we only putting emphasis on June? Shouldn't we just be doing this all the time? It's just celebrating people, no matter of what their sexuality or gender orientation or whatever. Why aren't we just celebrating human beings instead of having like this month for this thing and this month for this thing? Like, yes, okay, I understand it, and I don't hate that. It's just odd. But yeah, Pride events are just, they're nothing to, I don't know, want to terrorize, other than just being like, you're a homosexual or you're this. And it's like, I don't like that. I don't know. I've never been one to say that you have to like what I'm doing. You don't have to like what I'm doing. You don't even have to agree with me being with other men. You don't have to agree with that. But you don't have a right to stop me from doing what I'm doing. Do whatever you want. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to do anything. But you can't stop people from living the way they want to live just because you're whatever doesn't line up with that. I've never in my life shoved down to the point where it's like, you have to be my friend. You have to like what I'm doing.
Yeah, of
You
course
don't
not.
have to agree with what I'm doing. You just have to let me or any queer person just do what they want to do. I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I can ever say is that, like, because I'm coming up to 2 years of being out, and like I
Yes.
posted stuff on Twitter, and I got a lot of love and stuff like that this week. Just I said it in the video. I was like, just be who you are, accept who you are, like love who you are, and just surround yourself with the best people in the world. That's the easiest thing that you can do. Yes, listen, I see a lot of shit all the time. I post content sometimes and I get called slurs, and it's just like, it is what it is. You've seen people come into my chat before on Twitch and just throw shit at me, and I'm just like, why are you just, I'm just here just breathing. Like, breathing is a problem to you, to people that don't like, and they have to project what they don't like. And it's just like, I don't know, there's a lot of things that I don't like, but I'm not out here projecting. Like, I'm not a religious person, but I'm not going around telling everyone that everyone believes in God is an idiot, because I don't believe
I
that.
agree. And that's the same
but
thing.
also, I don't necessarily agree with all the logics that those people have, but it's not like I'm, do what you want. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. If that makes your life better, believing in Catholic, God, Jesus, go for it, dude.
Yeah,
live your life. That's
stop
fine.
me
But
from doing what I want to do.
Don't stop other people from doing that. And just that's it. Don't do that. And don't. Yeah, it's so stupid. Like, because certain people, that's the mindset. They're like, well, I believe in this because that's what's good for me. And it's like, all right, cool. But if that guy doesn't believe in that, or that guy does something that you don't believe in, like, that's cool too. Because he's not you. So what the fuck does it matter?
Yeah, it's the weirdest
very
thing.
Bizarre.
We I don't know.
It's
when
very
people tell me, like, when people are like, oh, like, it's not real anymore, just live your life, like, don't worry, like, people don't care about, I'm like, no, but you don't understand. Yes, we've progressed as a society so much. You look at something from now, even 5, 10, 15 years ago, yes, more people are open with being who they are, and more people are, you know, out and proud and all that stuff. But also, until you're in it, you don't know what it's like. And until you're in it, you don't know what it's like. And it's like, people are like, why did it take you so long to come out? It's like, because I was afraid of what other people are going to project on me, which has happened in the last 2 years, where there's people that don't talk to me anymore because of it. And yes, people are going to be like, well, you don't need those people. Okay, yeah, but it's still a thing that you have to process of, like, someone's
you
not
have to go
treating
through
me the
those
same
emotions of
because
things changing.
Just because of what I like. And it's like, it's just odd. And like, it's not like it's, when people are like, you made that choice to do that, I'm like, do you really think I would choose men? I'm not going to openly fucking just choose to be like, I'm going to be attracted to men. Men suck, me included. Men are just like, I wish I was attracted to women. They're much, just emotionally, I connect with women way better than I do with men, but I just not fit, unless you're Jade Cargill. If you're Jade Cargill, then that's a different story. And, you know, this is going to be like, everyone's going to be like, Josh certainly has a type. Have you watched Obi-Wan?
No.
Oh, well, one of the, not obviously Darth Vader, but one of the lead, what are they called? Heels. What are the heel equivalent? Starts with an A. Whatever.
What?
Her name is...
Siths?
Well, not in Star Wars world, just when, like, in normal...
I know what you're talking about. For the love of God.
There's protagonists. There's protagonists.
Antagonist.
There we go. Antagonist, one of the lead one, her name is Reva. It's played by Moses Ingram. And she's
getting a lot of bullshit coming.
A lot of race stuff.
That. I was so happy when Ewan McGregor posted that video where he was basically just fuck you, buddy.
Fuck off. He's like, you're not a Star Wars.
You're not part of this community if that's how you think. You might think you are. You can go fuck off.
Hey, if you think wrestling fans are bad, you should go dive into Star Wars fandom. It's worse.
I think
it's real bad.
I don't want to lose the point you were going to say. Yeah, go ahead.
Just before you go, but and go on that. She is also one that I'm just like, I don't know if maybe it's just strong black women.
Maybe.
Not a bad field. Not a bad field at all.
No,
but yeah,
certainly not.
They can step all over me. But other than that,
fair.
Yeah. But anyway, back to my point.
I was gonna say I wasn't gonna say anything about points. I was just gonna say I think you could probably dive into like a lot of super fandoms like that and find
We need to do an
those
episode on
type
that.
of people.
That would just be a negatively horrible episode.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes if you look at a post, it would just be a normal post. Be like, I don't know.
I do it all the time. I do it with wrestling posts all the time.
And you're like, wow, people.
Yeah,
really
like any wrestling news, any wrestling post, you look at the first 10 comments, and you're gonna see at least 3 or 4 of them where you're like, what is the thought process in your fucking brain?
Yeah, and why did you need to
type
write
some to like? Do you why would you think that's okay to say something like that? And B, do you really believe that? Because if you do, you need fucking help.
It's just a mess.
Like, you shouldn't be allowed near toys.
No.
Like, go somewhere else. What the fuck, man?
It's a whole thing of just like,
I forget the story, but it was something, and I retweeted it. This was like last week, and I think I just said, the worst part of wrestling are wrestling fans.
Oh, they are.
Or something along those lines. And this is not everybody. No. I've had great times with wrestling fan strangers at events. Yeah, I was there when Samoa Joe won the NXT title, and I hugged a random stranger.
Yeah, well,
I walked across the
that's like sports fans
aisleway, and I just hugged him. I was like, fans, oh my God, I couldn't believe it.
Anything with big gatherings like Star Wars. I'm sure Star Trek has the same thing. Marvel stuff. Any sport thing, you're always going to have fucktards. But also, like, again, the internet has just made it like anyone can write what they want. And yeah, sure, you can write what you want. But also, like, sometimes you just, us included, I'm sure we've had many opinions.
Oh, yeah, dude, I'm one of them. Like, you think, like, yeah,
shut up.
Look, I like tweeting. I like watching wrestling and tweeting about wrestling. That's what I like doing.
Sure.
But I know there are probably certain people that follow me for whatever reason. Not that I have a ton of them, but they probably do. And they're like, I don't give a fuck what this guy thinks.
They probably have me muted.
Fine.
The amount of people that have me muted is insane. Yeah, so, like, I don't know. It's just,
everyone has always had their own opinion, just up until social media. A lot of opinions
stayed
to you because you didn't have a fucking platform. And now, because there's been a platform, everybody thinks that everybody cares or should know their opinion, when in reality, nobody gives a fuck what you have to say.
No, people can give two shits. People don't care. It's why I don't really live tweet wrestling anymore. It's because I'm like, oh, you use that hashtag, and then it's like, oh fuck, here we fucking go. But it's just the whole thing.
Brutal.
I don't live tweet anything. Like I post a lot about Obi-Wan and stuff like that the last few weeks, but I turn off those fucking notifications in a heartbeat because someone's like, how could you like something because they didn't obey to this thing that happened in this comic in 2002? How do you? It's like, dude, I'm just sitting here watching a show, mate. Like, I'm just having a good time. Just
yeah, like.
I'm just enjoying, like, just calm down. If you don't, that's fine. If you don't agree with it, that's fine, bud. But you don't need to shout that at me. Like, I didn't ask. I truly didn't ask. When I'm tweeting, I'm not, unless I'm asking you, I'm not asking you. I'm just putting my thoughts out on something, or just simply just going, I'm watching this show. And then someone's like, how could you watch this episode? Just chill. Like, I'm just saying,
it's not that important, guys. It's not that important.
It's really not. And my opinion shouldn't matter to you either, because I am just one human being that doesn't matter. Really, we don't matter in the grand scheme of it all. We're just
we're ending this on a pause. we all don't matter.
We don't matter. So. Fuck us. It's just a weird time, isn't it? It's just a weird thing.
It's a fucking time.
It is a weird thing. Truly, I don't mean it in such a morbid way, but we don't. Like, we're just random human beings that really don't matter in the grand scheme of the world. Yeah. It is just an odd. It's just an odd thing. Here's something to brighten our day. So for some reason, like, we both have Facebook. I don't use Facebook all that much. I think Facebook is just like an old people thing, but I will say, you know, when you go into Facebook and it has like the video section, like you can scroll to your newsfeed, you can look at videos. Some reason I get stuff about animals. That's all I get. Is you just scroll up and my algorithm is just like animals that need rescuing or animals that have been abused and stuff like that. And it's all like, I'm just gonna cry. It's usually when I'm on the toilet, just like scrolling, and it's like I don't feel like crying while I'm doing my business here. But I seen this one this morning, and it broke my fucking heart. Like, into
no.
But I need to share it.
Is it a happy ending, though?
It has a happy ending.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So there was this dog, right, that had been hit by a car.
Oh,
It was
no.
pregnant, and it's not dead. It was on the side of the road, but the dog had a friend that would not leave its side. Like this other dog was protecting it. Anyone that would come near was like, "Hey, fuck off!" The dog couldn't
Yeah, it was
walk.
like
This lady stopped on the side of the road. She was a dog rescuer. Something happened, and she's like walking over the dog's like, "Hey, back off! This is
I'm not crying
friend.
already. I swear, I just have something in mind.
Don't worry." And like so that she's like, "Oh my god, like this dog can't walk. Like it's clearly pregnant. Like she's having a hard time." The other dog eventually let this lady in to check on her, and she got a crate and said, "Okay, I'm gonna get this dog to the emergency." Like holy shit. And then she put it in the crate and she couldn't lift it by herself. And she said she waited 45 minutes for someone to stop on this busy highway to help her put this dog in her car. So she eventually got someone helped her. And then this other dog was just sitting on the sidewalk, like watching. And she's like, I need to take this dog with me. He wasn't
Yeah,
hurt.
of course.
He was just
Yeah.
he was just watching out for his friend. Like, just what the hell? So she brought him along with her. Then they got to the emergency room and said, this isn't right. Something's not wrong. Something's not right here. Like, yes, this dog's been hit by a car in the back end, but something else has happened because the impact has not hurt her puppies. Someone had beaten this dog after it got hit by a car with a baseball bat, and all of the puppies died. Like, not one survived. But so then they fixed her up. She was only like 3 years old and she couldn't walk. So they had to she had a broken hip and some broken bones in her back. So they started to rehab it and noticed the dog was just like it was just depressed. It probably just like, I just lost all my puppies. Like it didn't have any interest. So they brought the dog's friend back to like help in the rehab. And now they're like together and they're like rehabbing. And within a few months it started walking again. And then they're like, okay, we need to adopt this dog out to a family. Like this is time to find its home. And they decided that like we cannot adopt these dogs separately. They have to go together.
I was gonna say they better bring that fucking friend with them.
So like they just like they eventually started and they couldn't find the family, and they're like, we know what we have to do. The lady that rescued her
adopted them both.
Ended up adopting them both. And they're both just like incredible. Together and like happy.
So those are like at the end of that, those are like happy tears.
I just can't understand how someone, this sounds really awful, but I would rather hit a person than hit an animal.
100%.
Like, people are trash.
Yeah.
Dogs and
we don't deserve animals. No. People don't deserve dogs at all. No. We do not.
Hey, cats are loyal too.
I have a cat. You have a cat. I love cats. We don't deserve cats probably either, but cats will let us know we don't deserve them. They'll tell you to fuck off.
Yeah, that's what I like.
Cats will tell you to fuck off. If they need an hour, they'll let you know.
Dogs are just like
dogs are always like, I'm here for you.
Yep. What can I do to help you?
Correct.
I want to be here with you.
You're sad. I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna just be here for you. You want to do something? Let's go. Dogs.
When I see people that have abused dogs, I'm like, you deserve to be just kicked.
The scum of the earth.
On.
They should.
Whatever you did to that dog deserves to happen to you.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
That should be treated to me as much as
100%.
If that was a pregnant woman, that you found out somebody beat with a ball bat until the baby passed away, that person should go to jail. That should be treated like in a scenario like that. Like that is
no. People that own
dog.
Animals and then abuse them. I'm like, how can you own an animal and then abuse that animal to the point where it's just like,
because you're just
trash. When I accidentally hit Gid or step on Gid, I'm like,
I stepped on Lou's tail today by accident, and he kind of like he was fine, but he kind of like scooted and did like a little hop. I felt guilty for 15 minutes.
Oh, when they they cry out,
I didn't chase him. I was like, "Are you all right? You mad at me?" Like I'm in my brain. I'm like,
giddy last night. So I was sitting playing PlayStation last night, and I'm just like, she was sitting on me. I had like a blanket on me, and she was like in a deep sleep, and I was just like sitting there for ages playing away. I'm like, all right, Gid, time to go to bed. And she was in that deep of a sleep. Like I picked up her head and it flopped back down. I'm like, oh my fucking god, what's wrong with Giddy? And then she was just like, looked at me. I'm like, fucking hell, Giddy, you scared me to the point where I thought you were dead. Because when they just get in that deep sleep and they just like flop back down. Oh my god, it scared the shit out of me. I was like, no, this can't happen. I can't lose my Gid. But she was just like, looked at me. She's just like, I was asleep.
Can I go back to sleep, dickhead?
Yeah. So then I had to get up and stuff.
Thanks for waking me up, Dad.
But she was like this, and like I just like, and she just went like back, and I was like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah, you're like, no!
Because you know your heart like sinks. You're like, oh
yeah.
fucking God.
Yeah, one time. So I live in an apartment building that's like 4 floors, and I live on the 4th floor all the way down at the end of one of the halls. So I'm like in a corner apartment. And Lou likes to roll in the hallway. The hallway is not long. But sometimes when I come home from work, he'll kind of be near the door, and he likes to just go out and kind of like walk up and down the hallway a few times. And so I let him, not all the time, but I let him. And one time I was bringing home something, either groceries or laundry or something like that, and I saw him scamper out there. And in my brain, I said, all right, I'll put this stuff down, and then I'll go back out there and I'll grab him.
Yeah.
I see him scamper out. I go put the stuff down, and then when I looked out in the hallway, he wasn't
hate that feeling.
Oh. He wasn't there. So then I was just like, oh fuck. I'm like, where'd he go? So I kind of walk up and down the hallway. I kind of go a little bit further, as if he might have wandered off further because there's stairs and shit. Yeah. I don't see him. I'm like, did I lose my fucking cat? And I spent like 15 minutes walking around this apartment hallways. I went down a couple just to be safe. And I was like, where the hell could he be? And then I walked right back into my apartment, and he was literally just in the middle of like right when I opened the door, just sitting right there. I go, what the fuck? I go, where'd you go? And he must have like hid under the bed. And I was just like, my brain was not thinking anything. And I just was like, no. I
was taking my garbage out. I was like, and my, like, where my, like, beanie is at the front of my house. So I like walked out the front. It was night. Was it dark? Yeah, it was dark. I switched on the front light and went out to take it, and I like pushed my screen door open, and Gid like ran out. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And she like darted up the driveway, and I was like, oh my fucking God, get it. Yeah. And I like picked her up, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, she never tries to run out. But sometimes she, like, when she does go out, like, Giddy is a complete inside cat. Like, if I'm like outside in my backyard, I might let her where I can see her. Yeah. But you know how cats are, they jump and shit, and you're like, no. So like she comes out, so she just like rolls in the dirt, and then she's like, I'm too precious for this, I'm going inside. For some reason though, she just went out the front, whenever it was, a couple of days ago, and was like, I'm gonna try and get out of here. And I live on a fairly main road. Like if I walk out, it's a pretty busy street. A lot of cars come through, and I'm like, it should be gone, and she wouldn't know how to fucking survive on the outside. She's too much of a princess. So, because I just spoil her rotten. But when I used to have a dog, who now my sister has my dog that I had, he was an Australian Kelpie, so Australian like sheepdog basically. So they're working dogs, but like you can still have them. But so he was very high energy and stuff like that. And whenever he was outside, he would just like bounce around and shit like that. And he was like the same. He was like, he has high anxiety, so he's very like stressed a lot of the time of like when you're not around. He's like separation anxiety, stuff like that. But he was very much a dog that was just like, where are you? I want to sit with you. I'm sitting on your lap. Like, let me the fuck around you. Like, whatever you need to do, I'll just be there. And that doesn't suit just how I am as a person. I love dogs, but I don't think I could, not alone anyway. If I was with someone and they were like, let's get a dog, I'd be like, fine, but it's your dog. Like, it's not my dog. Like, I'll play with it and feed it and, it'll be great, but it's your dog. You need to take care of this dog. Cats are a little bit more like independent creatures that are just like, I'm just going to do what I want and then come and see you when I really, really need to see you. That's how I go to work 8-9 hours a day, 5 days a week. So I'm just kind of like, I can leave Gid at home and she does not care. A dog needs attention. They need to go for walks. They need to be played with. They need to be, they need that kind of time. Otherwise dogs are just shit when they're not, because they just destroy everything because they get bored. Cats, they don't care.
No.
They don't care. They don't care. As long as you feed them, they really honestly don't give a crap.
Yeah, they might want you to play with them from time to time. Like you can see them get a little excited and they'll be like, come on. But, and again, Lou is a baby still. He's like 2.
Oh, yeah, so kittens. My sister just got a kitten, so I'm like, whoa. But she's like this big, and it's just like,
I know. Well, when I first got Lou, he was literally like, I could hold him. Yeah. And I was like, holy crap. I was like, look at the size of this thing.
I can't have a kitten.
And now he's a monster. He weighs like almost 20 pounds. He's a monster.
Yeah, Lou is big. Giddy is not.
He's a big boy.
She's the opposite. She's quite a dainty little cat. Yeah. So
he's the second largest breed of domestic cat you can own. He's not. So there's a Maine Coon, which can get up to 30 pounds.
Jesus Christ. Imagine that sitting on your lap. Good Lord.
Can get up to 30 pounds, and that's a domestic cat. And then Lou is right now they call him an American medium hair, but he's the second largest, so they can get up to like 25
I love
pounds.
cats. Fascinate me whenever not that I have a weird opinion on the zoo. I'm like, should I go to the zoo or is this wrong? But when I do go to the zoo, I'm always fascinated by big cats, lions,
the tigers and lions,
stuff like that. Like I'm fascinated by big cats and meerkats. Meerkat is my favorite animal. I don't know why I love meerkats, but they're just like so in tune with everything. They're just cool creatures. Like when I go to Adelaide Zoo, I'm always like, where are the meerkats? I want to find the meerkat. But yeah, big cats, because it's just a big giddy. Like I just look at them like, I get it. Like you're just like, you could destroy me in a heartbeat, but like you're like, they just roll around and they're just like playing. And I'm like, you're just a big giddy, really. Like they have the same tendencies. It's weird how you look at
except when they get hungry, they will tear you to shreds.
Yeah, but like they just like I've seen them, when they play and shit, and they're just
that's the craziest thing, because I do watch a lot of like the David Attenborough Planet Earth and all. Like I watch that stuff, and they're on those things. You usually see lions and tigers fucking chasing some sort of animal and ripping it to shreds, right? Like that's something you see.
But cats have that instinct.
Yes, when I first got Lou, even when he was a kitten, but like as he was growing, the way he hunts his toys or the way he would hunt whatever, it's the same exact thing that the lions do. They're just literally hunting zebras or whatever there is that they're hunting. I'm like,
some of that stuff is gnarly to watch.
It's
stuff.
Oh
like
my God.
Leopards and stuff. Like I'm fat. Like
they just
snow
came
leopards.
out with one.
Oh
my God,
beautiful animals.
Yeah, and they have the huge paws, like gigantic paws.
Well, we have like dingoes and stuff, obviously, in this country, and they're just like wild dogs, basically, but they're rabid. And like it's weird to see like dogs, and you're like, oh, you're the same as this. Like you're the same as this wild animal. You're just in a domesticated form. It is weird how you can, like, whenever you see animals at the zoo, and you're just like, oh. Because I'm fascinated by like I said, like big cats, meerkats, and then I'm fascinated by like otters and sea lions and stuff like that.
Penguins?
I'm like, I love. Who doesn't? How can you not like a penguin?
If you don't like penguins, you don't have a soul. That's how
they're just the coolest animal ever.
They're just like kind of always like, yep. They're just
then they just flop out and they just go in the water.
Cool. All right,
yeah, they're just like living their lives. Like penguins are cool. Like in Melbourne, there's a giant aquarium. Huge aquarium, and penguins are aquariums. In there. Me too.
I love aquariums.
They're cool as fuck. You know when you walk through and they have like the ones that go over the top of you, so you're like, whoa, there's like stingrays and shit. Although this country has a very, very
Well, they took Steve Irwin. That's fucked up, man.
And Steve Irwin is our most beloved,
as he should be.
The other day, Terry
incredible
Irwin,
human.
She put up like 30 years ago. She met Steve, and it's like, oh
yeah, he was a great human. He was a great human.
Whenever I remember the day he died. We went home early from school.
I can imagine that had to be like a national tragedy. National.
I remember our parents got called to leave school early.
Wow,
that's how much of a thing it was.
I don't know. I
killed this man.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if there's a person alive that would cause that in America. Probably the president. I think if the president were to something to happen like that, I think they would be like, all right, everyone's going home from work and everyone's going, this is like, we're not.
I was young.
And I bet you some places would be like, no, you're fucking staying. Finish the day.
Yeah,
but like,
not for Steve
I can't
Irwin.
imagine any celebrity, any whatever in this country of America where if that happened, like we would call and they'd be like, yeah, send our kids home. Send the kids home.
It was that. I remember that was I still remember that really vividly.
During 9/11, we had to stay in school.
Whoa. I remember when 9/11 happened too. I was real young, but
where I went to school, I was a junior in high school. I was high school.
5, maybe.
Yeah. And I was in the middle of school. It happened during second period, and the principal came over and made the announcement during the beginning of third period. And she told us what happened. And she said, right now, we've been advised to keep you here. It'll be safer with you here. And then the rest of the school day, like nobody was fucking teaching us things. It was not a normal school day by any means, but like, yeah, we didn't go home early.
Yeah,
we didn't go to, I think they canceled it happened on a Tuesday. I think they canceled the next day of school, but I think on that Thursday we went back to school, and it was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember waking up to it because it happened when we were all asleep. Because the time zones. So I remember waking up to it and not understanding what was going on. I just kind of remember where I was looking on the TV and just mum being like, "What the fuck is going on?" But yeah, when Steve Irwin died, that was like crazy because obviously he did so much crazy shit with animals, and you're like, this man's.
But he did a lot of good stuff. He did a lot of good stuff too.
Yeah, but like crazy stuff in the mean.
Oh my god,
like,
yeah.
What the fuck? Like you're gonna literally get. It was the thing that loved him that killed him. It's pretty not beautiful in the sense of like beautiful that he died, but like beautiful in the sense of like, of course that's the way he died. It's like a stingray got him. I think it got him in the heart.
Did I lose Josh?
Oh no!
Are we done here? Did I lose something?
I can hear you. Can you not hear me?
Are you there?
Oh no! Let's do this. Let's do it. It doesn't matter because we're pretty much wrapping up anyway. But hey, there was a little bit of a technical issue. We lost each other for a second, but probably a good sign to wrap it up. But yeah, what a crazy.
I mean, we talked about a lot of shit.
Yeah, we really did. I did.
And it was funny because you were like, "Hey, I really don't. There's not much to talk about in wrestling. I don't want to talk about wrestling. Let's just kind of wing it." And I feel like we just kind of went in all the road. We talked about everything, movies, politics. I had other
stuff in my brain too, just to like
national tragedies.
Yeah, like, literally.
It was like, all right,
what the heck, people? But yeah, make sure you again. I said this at the start of the thing, but subscribe to the new channel. View the new channel, please. Like it, share it, all that kind of good stuff. There's new episodes every single Thursday at 9 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time. For you guys in the States, on Thursday mornings, it's pretty much up by the time you're waking up for the day. It's premiering on YouTube. So go and check it out, do all that kind of good stuff. Let us know what you want us to talk about because we're open to literally, we'll talk about it. There's no topic that we probably won't touch unless it's literally just politics. We will not touch that. But other than that, we don't care. We're an open-ended kind of thing. I'm not I don't get uncomfortable talking about things. That doesn't bother me. So whatever you want us to talk about, we'll talk about. I'll share whatever. I'm an open book. So if you leave us in the comments or let us know on Twitter or on Instagram or on fucking whatever. Do all that kind of stuff. I will end with this. If you haven't watched me play The Quarry, watch me play The Quarry, because that was a trip. I did that whole game in a couple of days. That last stream was like 5 hours because I couldn't put it down. What an incredible game that is. So I'm not going to spoil anything because it's
I watched a good chunk of it, but I purposely didn't watch all of it because that's a game I want to play.
It's real fucking good.
It looked I like games like, mainly I play a lot of sports games, but I like games that give you choices like that. And I like games that are creative enough.
You don't have to do much.
You can play it multiple. Yes, you don't have to do a ton.
You can watch this game, by the way. There's movie mode in this game where you can just watch it.
That's probably pretty cool. But I would want to play it first. Yeah. And but if you played it now, and I'm not saying purposefully you changed all your answers, but you did a few things differently, the ending might be the same, but like the story would be different.
I was so pissed at my ending. I'm like, I've got to play this thing. And there's couch co-op, so it encourages you to swap with people. Like, hey, play this with other people.
So can you do co-op? You can play co-op?
Couch co-op, yeah. So like you'll sit there and someone will control someone that will say, hand your controller. And you'll go, okay. It could be in the middle of you.
Be like in the same. I was gonna say like, would that be something we could do?
That'd be fun, but no, it's couch co-op. So
gotcha.
But it's cool. I don't even know. Again, I won't spoil the game, but it has a bunch of actors and actresses in it. Actors. I'm not saying actress. Actors. They're all actors. Like David Arquette's in it. Wrestling fans, obviously. Former WCW champion David Arquette. Brenda Song. My age people would know her from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. She was London Tipton. There's the guy from A Detective Pikachu. Justice Smith, I think his name is.
Oh, yeah.
He's in it. There's a... who else is Ariel Winter from Modern Family? She played Alex. She's in it, and there's a few other people that are in it as well that you'd be like, I know this person, or I've seen. They're all actors that have been gamified. So like, go and play the Quarry. It's genuinely one of the best experiences I've ever played in.
Yeah.
Just a good damn time. And it's not, even for someone like me who hates horror, it's not scary in a sense of like I'm petrified.
It's more of a thriller.
Yeah, and it's more just like, if people have, it's made by the same people that made Until Dawn.
I was going to ask if you played Until Dawn.
Of course, I played Until.
I liked that game a lot.
That was one of the first things I ever did on stream.
All right,
was Until Dawn.
All right, I liked that game a lot.
This is Until Dawn on crack. Like, it's so much better. I'm not saying crack is good, but you know it's just a saying. But yeah, it's a damn good time. Like, I had a real. I can't wait in a few months to be like, I want to play this game again and play this game. You could do stuff on Twitch with it. Be like, let your chat pick the choices.
Do they give you enough time?
You can pause it, so you can the choices can come up, and then you can pause it and go, chat. What the fuck are we doing? And then you just go by your chat, and like they can lead you astray, and like trying to get different endings and finding everything, because there's always little nuances in that game, especially the first time you're playing something like that. You're like, what's happening? Now you kind of know where the story is going, so you're like, okay, like let's see, and trying to keep them all alive, trying to kill them all. You could probably, I'm sure there's people that's like, let's just kill them all, let's get them all dead. And there's some people that want to keep some of them alive. You know, from I'll say this, there was one character in particular that I fucking hated, and I was like, I just want this person to die, and that was my mission. And I won't say whether I succeeded or not, but yeah, it's all on my YouTube. That last part is nearly 5 hours, so just give yourself some time to watch it. But I was not going to do a 5-hour stream that last, but I just couldn't put the game down.
You get to a certain point in those where if you have the time, you're like,
I'm doing this tonight. So, but yeah, I can't wait to have like friends over or something. That'd be a cool date.
Yeah.
Sitting on the couch, like, you know, not like first date, like second or third date, but like, let's just sit here and play this.
Yeah.
Because you'll learn a lot about a person too.
With their choices.
You'll be like, nice to know what you'd do if I was fucking dead.
I like it.
So yeah, go and play the Quarry. Watch me play the Quarry if it's not your thing to play. If you prefer to watch people, go and do that. So we're on my YouTube. All the links to our stuff are in the description below. We'll see you next Thursday here on the J and J Power Hour. But until then, we are out of here.